Mayday, mayday, this is not an emergency. This actually is an emergency. Everybody assume your battle stations. I just got a freaking... This time last week, I tried my luck, I tried my fate, and submitted and entered into like the sleep token lottery system to, I guess, just be randomly chosen to be among the few to go to a listening party, a preview of their upcoming album, which is supposed to come out on Friday, I believe, at least here in the United States. That's the 9th, Friday, yeah. And yesterday, I knew it was May 5th yesterday. I knew that people were allegedly going to start hearing back. Like that was going to be the deadline that people were going to be getting emails if they'd been picked. I'm assuming it was a lottery. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it is just like a luck of the draw based on where you're located, obviously. That's why I tried my luck. I was like, I'm in LA. Surely there's got to be a chance that they're doing something in LA, like not to have a freaking LA girl-centric view of the world. And then I was on Twitter yesterday seeing that other people were getting their emails, which was amazing. Happy for them. Something great happened for you. I wish it had happened to me, but it's okay. Like that whole thought process. So I was like, ah, frick. Well, I guess it didn't happen. Well, fast forward this freaking morning, an opportunity to gather. Yourself and a guest have been chosen to gather and worship on the evening of Wednesday, May 7th. Where's this mystery location? Where am I being summoned? Where am I being lured? I might have very well just gotten scammed. That's freaking tomorrow, y'all. It's Tuesday. This is tomorrow night. So I'm just gonna hope and pray that this is in Los Angeles and that I didn't just get scammed. I think we're fine. Either way, the whole reason I'm filming this is because I was going to film my reactions to their upcoming album because I just freaking felt like it. Y'all know Sleep Token. I've never cared so much about a band since my freaking obligatory obsession with the Beatles when I was like 8 years old. So this is the next British invasion. This is this is the next British invasion that is happening in my musical awakening. I've never been in this deep, been in the trenches this much, just rooting for a musical group and enjoying their stuff, and obviously I'm so freaking excited for the next album, and that's why I wanted to maybe do reactions to it, because Sleep Token's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get, so I feel like it's perfect excuse to do my first ever like music reactions on the channel. But maybe if we actually go to this, then that will not be the case, because I'm gonna get to hear the album on freaking tomorrow night. Like, what the freak? Yes, I confirmed, but where am I going? Where am I supposed to go? So much is happening. I will keep you posted on any further developments, but either way, if this ends up being the welcome to my inevitable review of said new album, then I just wanted to document this. Just sheer happiness and shock, because I really thought chances were over. If I don't return, then that means that I was scammed, and that's on me, and I got what I deserved. But hopefully you'll be seeing me next in this video at least, and I will be sharing my thoughts on the album and doing a little review. I don't freaking know. We're getting ready to maybe worship. I literally do not know. We're gonna find out. Hello, y'all. Checking back in to report that we are going. We were not scammed. Even though I spent the entirety of yesterday convincing myself that we had been, or that something went wrong, or that I probably did something wrong, or that it glitched because it didn't send any sort of details. When, where, how, where are you supposed to rendezvous if this was still in LA after we didn't get any sort of further location or just latitude and longitude coordinates, because I know they like to be cryptic like that. But thankfully, this afternoon, we finally got it. So alas, we are going to embark on that this evening. They will be seizing our phones when we reach the premises. It's outdoors too, which I'm very curious. But alas, I will not be able to document anything there, of course. I think I'm just going to go and rock with it and enjoy it and just soak it in and appreciate the fact that I get to freaking be there and experience that amongst other fans too. Like, I imagine it's going to feel like a mini concert just without the band. But then I will probably regroup when I'm going to be able to listen to the songs again. That's going to be the one difficult part. We're going to go and hear the music in a crowd with other fans. The energy, the essence is going to be great. But then I'm going to get back in the car and then not be able to like go listen to it right away on Spotify, you know? And for Sleep Token, so much of the experience, you can't just get one serving. You need to listen at least like 50 times. Like when I heard my first Sleep Token song, I had that on repeat for 3 weeks straight. So I will probably regroup with you guys on Friday, be able to share my full thoughts, because again, I don't think I'm going to be able to really document or be able to articulate much tonight since I'm not going to be taking notes or anything, but I will hopefully just be able to give a little bit of a description of what the energy and vibes are like. We'll see. Stick around. All right, apologies. We're filming this selfie style because otherwise it already is like Blair Witch Project shaky cam. It's fine. I'm gonna try my best to stabilize. Holy frick. Start to finish, immediate thoughts just got out. That production, I don't know what I had in my mind, but it was subpar compared to that. Holy shnikes, start to finish, the entirety of the venue. Shout out to anybody who facilitated this and partook in making this become a thing. Can I vote to, let's get a campaign going to make these just regular things in general. I mean, I know there must be a lot, and it was also like free, so like, you know, I know there must be a lot of like work and people going into it, but can we make this a more regular thing? Because it literally was like a concert. This venue was gorgeous. It was at the Los Angeles Arboretum, which is literally in Arcadia, so like shout out to that. Arrived, knew we were in the right place because I immediately saw some beautiful goth girls. There's peacocks just roaming the grounds, which is a great omen. Yeah, they're not flamingos like in all the promotional artwork and whatnot. Still, you would have thought they were paid actors. It just totally set this vibe, this perfect ambiance that felt like, oh my god, we're about to go into the Gardens of Eden, y'all. They didn't seize them, but they do the thing where they lock your phones up in the little pouches and they split you. You could walk through the grounds to get through either the House Viridian pathway or Feathered Host. We went to House Viridian because that was my original house. We were towards the back, but it didn't matter because they had this big veil, this big curtain set up with a projector on it, pillars all around decorated with all these gorgeous flowers, like lights, smoke effects, fog. It really was like a full concert production. It was so much more than I was expecting. They did everything they could to really make it feel like you were there, and it really did almost kind of feel like a cult-like setting because you're not allowed to have your phones. Everybody's out sitting on these blankets and pillows. We're outside. There's peacocks chirping around. The sun goes down, and then we're just all watching this like screen with imagery of like flames going up. Like it really did feel like a worship of sorts. And they just started to play songs from top to bottom, and so they were projecting the visualizers like what you would see in like, you know, the Emergence music video and for Damocles and Caramel and all that stuff. But okay, that's all vibes and ambiance. That's the best I can articulate without having been able to document any of that. All I could film was the peacocks. Holy first song out of the gate, I was like, oh, I'm locked in. This is my new favorite Sleep Token song ever. Look to Windward. That is, dare I say, their best song ever. Oh my frick. It just like immediately I was like, holy frick. If that's all they played, I'd be like, oh my god, on cloud 9. I cannot believe I can't go home right now and listen to that 500 million times. Other highlights: Dangerous, Provider, the titular song, even in Arcadia, which addressed my overarching question, my largest question: where does that kind of like lullaby, like whimsical tune play? The one that they've been using in all of the marketing. And so when hearing that and hearing all the lyrics that were addressing like show me how to dance forever, oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm like just spitballing, this is not going to be coherent in any way, shape, or form. It was incredible. So yes, I kind of almost wish that I could have had my reactions to some of these, because throwback to when I said that Sleep Token is like a box of chocolates and you never know what you're going to get. That applies, yes, to the full album top to bottom, but also just within the songs. And they have some of their longest run times in this album. It's crazy. You think the songs are over, and then, well, it's like they flip a switch and it becomes something completely different, which obviously that is not new for them. Many other songs on Take Me Back to Eden are like that, but this even more so. It's like there's a song within the song. It's crazy. And they are still lyrically freaking like topping themselves. This, I'm literally like mourning the fact that I just heard that and had the best night of my life. And now I can't go listen to each of these a million times. But lyrically, holy frick, they're still pulling out these epic one-liners that like take your breath away. You do a double take and you're like, oh my god, somebody wrote that. It's almost crazy because I feel like the singles that they released did not paint an accurate picture of what this, like, in a way that they did, because each of the singles was so different, and that is the case for this album. So maybe it did paint an accurate picture. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. In terms of just expectations coming off of the singles, I was like, I didn't really know what to feel, and I still didn't know what I was feeling. It has that classic Sleep Token. You feel like you're in this dreamlike, whimsical, eerie state. It genuinely, this whole thing was so freaking cool. That's why I'm like, if they did these like yearly or once a month or something like that, I'd pay to go back to do something like this. Please, it was incredible. Infinite baths, y'all. Infinite baths. Holy frick. I was so freaking happy. They're lyrically still on par with everything that they have done. That's why it's like almost, not that it was a decoy, but you know, the release of Damocles and Caramel as their singles, which lift the veil. Like, they are not under the guise of the lore or, you know, all of the kind of facade, which is not necessarily the best word, but the kind of, you know, the theatricality, the dramatics of Sleep Token, what it all means, and is it communing with sleep and whatnot. Whereas Caramel and Damocles were definitely like, oh, gloves off, lift the mask of this is the most that they can actually divulge to us. And this is coming from them as artists, not as the roles they play. Vessel 2, 3, 4, but who they are as individuals and what they could say to us if they could actually speak to us. That is them actually speaking to us. I know in those singles they are expressing, you know, I can't always be killing the game or whatnot, but they freaking did. They killed the game here, y'all. They have one-upped themselves. Vessel is vocally doing things that he's not done before, and he is killing it. He's like belting in some of these in ways I haven't heard him in the previous albums before. Like, everybody is trying new things, stepping up. 2 on the drums. There is new sounds scattered throughout this album that you're like, holy frick, is this Sleep Token? In a good way. Not like, oh, this doesn't sound like them. Nothing sounds like them, because every single one of their songs, they do whatever the frick they want. So then you can't even pin them down to a signature sound, yet at the same time, how can I say that in one breath and then say this is the most like Sleep Token-y album of theirs? I feel like, but maybe it's because they just freaking pedal to the metal, threw aside any constraints or any sort of freaking niche or formula or whatever, and just, so that's why this album just freaking lets loose, and there's so many new sounds. Yeah, that was just, it was magical. It was incredible. The peacocks were chirping during some of it, but it was okay. It like added to that essence of, we're in Eden now, y'all. Like, take me back to Eden. I listen to that like when I'm in my field, you know, when I want to be in deep. That's how Take Me Back to Eden makes me feel, versus this was like, let's get lit. We're in Eden. We are past Eden now. We're in a place better than Eden, wherever that may be, if that's even possible. We're at the gates of something higher, something greater. That's why I always describe them as like ethereal and like whimsical. Like, you feel like you're in this dream state. And that's what my favorite Sleep Token songs do. They make you feel like you're like, what am I listening to? I've transcended my physical form, and I'm somewhere else. Guys, it is out, and oh my goodness, I don't know why I thought that this was coming out at midnight, like Pacific time. Like, I thought I had another 3 hours to stay up, y'all. But it's dropped. Bits and pieces of the songs that I heard last night were creeping back up into my head today, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was already buzzing. I was like, I just need this now. Oh, because it was so amazing last night. I'm gonna sit down tonight, share more of my actual formulated thoughts now that I'm not just like regurgitating everything, word vomiting as much as I possibly can before it escapes my memory. 0 days, 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds, y'all. That is a freaking beautiful sight. But yes, now that the album is out and we can officially listen together, obviously I will not be able to provide my full-fledged reactions, but that was not my initial intention anyway. I've only ever done film and television reactions here, so this would have been my first music reactions, but I don't know how people get away with doing music reactions. I never show like the full episode or film that I watch when I do those types of reactions. Film and television versus I've seen music reactions where they play the whole song. I imagine you just get copyrighted into oblivion. Either way, I've said this before, if this does get copyrighted, please, Sleep Token, take it. This is still going to be pretty fresh. I have each of these in my system only once, but we're going to go through with the highlights, the ones that I clung to the most from the listening party, and just buzz again. Share my favorite parts and just freak out a little bit together. So let's just go through again. I have not stopped thinking about this song. Get me a banana bag, an IV, whatever, and inject this Look to Windward into my veins. I am in the pre-obsession stage with this song. I am about to become a different person because I am going to have this on repeat an unhealthy amount. So I'm clinging to what life I have left right now before this dominates and takes over and just absolutely swallows it whole, because I have not stopped thinking about this. Genuinely pump this into my bloodstream. Let's just as I drift away, will you hold this eclipse in me? Like, holy, lyrically, this is what I'm talking about. This is less than 60 seconds into the first freaking song, and you're already like, oh my god, I have entered the gates of heaven. This is the hallmark Sleep Token experience. Genuinely, this is what I mean when I say like this album possesses some of the greatest Sleep Token-y vibes, because this song in particular, the first freaking song, is almost 8 minutes long, and it literally has this prologue. Can I just get an endless loop of this? If somebody just made an endless 10-hour loop of just this right here. Will you want this eclipse in me? Will you want this eclipse in me? You know what? Will you want this eclipse in me? Like, are you kidding me? This is peak. Oh, this is the first freaking song. This is peak Sleep Token right here. It has every element of their music that I love and freaking worship. This ethereal, like you feel like you are. They literally paint this picture for you. They like plant you. If you just freaking close your eyes and allow yourself to just transform and go where they're trying to take you, you feel like you are, you're entering the gates. That's why I love this album, coming off of the theme of, take me back to Eden, like this return to this ethereal place. This kind of feels like we unlocked Eden. Like we are there. We are so back. We are lit. This breakdown, y'all. Like, are you joking? Oh my frick. This whole song I'm obsessed with. I loved that freaking prologue. The meat here, you get the usual like style in the middle here. This is the same song, y'all. Like, that's what's freaking crazy. This is all the same song, but they have the songs within the songs. I'm serious. Sleep Token musical when? Like, y'all could compose. I need a Sleep Token opera. Give me act 1, give me act 2, give me third act, frankly, because that's what each of their songs are. Each of the freaking songs are mini musicals, and if you were to jump anywhere on the track, you're like, am I still listening to the same thing? Is this even the same band? And the answer is frick yes. I'm so, like, obsessed. Take all my money. I don't even know if I did a good job of explaining why this is my favorite Sleep Token song, and I do not think that's recency bias. Again, I think it is just the perfect amalgamation of everything that they do so well. Their signature sound, and I know there I was saying initially off of my fresh review coming from the listening party that I don't even know if you can necessarily describe or articulate or pin down any sort of singular signature sound for them, but this, in my opinion, taps into, it's got the death screaming, it's got this ethereal, lyrically insane, like it feels otherworldly. That's what my favorite Sleep Token songs accomplish. Absolute banger of a way to start the album. So you can imagine that I was literally operating on another stratosphere when they kicked it off with this, the most insane way to open an album, like the best possible vibes. I'm gonna jump to track 4, which is Dangerous. Now this one, at the listening party, again, I have only heard it once and it could be like blurred together all in my brain, but this one admittedly started off feeling like a very different vibe for them. I gotta get back into it. Let's play it a little bit again. Yes, okay, I remember this one. This, I feel like Vessel vocally is exceeding even himself, and I know I said this in my original review when I went to go see them live for the first time in Prague, and I came out like, yeah, y'all, he has vocal cords made of gold. But I feel like, and even Emergence was, I feel like, a preview of just his, I don't want to say improvement, just growth, like just mastery. I don't know, maybe even confidence, because this is, I feel like he's like out here belting some of this. The vocal control is incredible in this one, and that's what really resonated with me at first. Like, I feel like he's tapping into new levels vocally as well, which I didn't think was possible for him again. And again, I don't like to use the word improvement because I didn't originally think that there was room for improvement. He's like even better live. Like, that's why it's interesting. There is a lot of production, and I feel like the production is even heightened on this album, like a lot more layers and not as many stripped back ballads as we see on some of their older stuff, which is fine because I think it is the production and that kind of layering. By the way, I have like no musical credentials. I should have prefaced that I'm literally just approaching this as a fan. I might not even fully know what I'm talking about, or if I'm explaining this as a proper like lay person, whatever this terminology is. This is my first first ever like music reaction / review, and I don't even know if review is the correct term for that, even because I'm not here to critique. I'm here to just appreciate. I cannot wait if this makes their set list on their tour coming up this fall, to hear this live. I feel like, just because I just feel like, I don't know, Vessel's unlocked something.
Thought I could resist you. Something in me just can't but insist. I lose my mind. Back to back with oblivion.
Like, seriously, this album is littered with like all of my new favorite freaking Sleep Token songs. I do not know how they've done it. All right, even in Arcadia, the titular song. I'd been so curious where that was going to come into play, or even if that was going to be in the album.
So believe that blades of you been waiting long.
Yes! Oh my god! Like the freaking lyrics. Oh my god. I love the way that they plan, obviously, with the marketing, these quotes, and have no idea what the freaking context is and can only theorize, and then to like hear them in the song, it's like that freaking Leonardo DiCaprio meme of like, oh, they said the thing. This part, holy shit, okay, he taps into this like primal, like raw, this like retching guttural scream. This reminds me of Sugar, like some of the vocalization he does in that song, where it's just like this raspy. I ignore my failed impression. I'm not articulating any of this correctly, but dang it, now that I'm re-listening to this is also, this whole album is just competing with itself for which of these is my new favorite freaking Sleep Token song of all time. Yes! Oh, y'all heard this part. Yes. Also, the new instruments and whatnot that they're featuring in this. We got the saxophone, obviously, in Emergence, but hearing this, it almost sounds like viola or cello. I feel like it's too low pitched to be violent. I don't know. Even this. Also, it pairs so beautifully with just, again, a great root of so many of Sleep Token's best songs is just the raw, the keyboard, the piano that they come back to. Sometimes, again, they have their prologue, they got the meat and potatoes, you got the main course, and then you have their epilogues, the songs within the songs. But so many times I love when, it starts off with just Vessel and the piano, and then it morphs into this crazy thing. But I love what they're introducing, ending some of their songs here in this album. Again, Emergence, and now even in Arcadia with like new instruments and whatnot. Oh, I'm just obsessed with this whole freaking thing. Okay, I'm gonna jump to Infinite Baths, but as I had mentioned, Provider, y'all, holy frick. Like, so many of these are just, again, this whole album is just freaking riddled with which of these is my new favorite song. Infinite Baths, y'all. The finale of this song, I don't know what they're saying, but I'm vibing with it. Alright, I am patiently awaiting the lyrics for this one. Dare I say the screams on this album? I was admittedly getting a little, not nervous, because again, they could have dropped anything, and I'd be here, I'd be sad, I'd be listening. They'd leave no crumbs regardless. With the releases of the 3 singles that they did put out, Emergence, Caramel, and Damocles, none of them, except actually Caramel does get into like the death screams, but none of them were necessarily like too heavy. Which is totally fine, and I am not one of those people who sits and critiques Sleep Token for not being metal enough. Again, I will elaborate further on that, but I didn't know what to expect because those songs were different and they weren't as like infused with the metalcore. They're doing their own thing and exploring different sounds, so I was like, vibes, cool, I'm sad either way. But I wasn't expecting the actual amount of screams on this album. Is honestly surprising to me based on the singles that they dropped, and they're screaming into the ether, y'all. They've unlocked something spiritually. Like, what a way to end this album. Started strong, finished strong, main course and everything in between was freaking strong. I knew obviously that I couldn't do a full first time reactions to each of these, but I just wanted to go through and highlight some of my freaking favorite standout moments from my first impression of the album. But holy frick, like, I knew that it was special when I was listening last night, but now listening to these again, it's almost like, do you ever get like too much of a good thing and you get like too overly stimulated? There will never be enough time for me to fully listen and absorb and ingest all of this. Holy frick. Like, oh, I didn't even think about it that way, but that is how I feel about Sleep Token. I saw a lot of people mentioning that this album is perhaps more accessible in a way, like some of their more accessible sounding stuff, which I would argue is definitely the case, I think, for Caramel and Damocles. So perhaps that is part of the logic for those two being some of the singles. But in my opinion, Sleep Token's music has always been inherently accessible because they venture into so many different sounds. Again, they don't just pigeonhole themselves into one genre or niche or theme, any of that. They do whatever they want. And so I would always venture to say there's something for everybody in Sleep Token. And yes, I know I have pitched it to you guys here on the channel if you're watching this and still don't know who Sleep Token are. If you're one of just my Star Wars friends and whatnot and you've been watching this video, I know I have recommended them under the umbrella of metalcore if you would like to get into that, but that is not a necessity. You do not need to be a metal fan to enjoy their music. You can be, but they have so much more to offer beyond that. Now, that said, I was pleasantly surprised and actually really thrilled with the amount of heavier, like the full, like in the thick of it emo that they got with this, the death screams and whatnot. Like, I live for that when they tap into it, and I feel like it is very fitting for what they were going for with this album. The songs that they chose to do it in the way that they are, just, it came as a bit of a surprise though, because again, you never know what you're gonna get, and it's not a guarantee. They don't abide by the laws of metalcore or operate as just a solely metal band. They can go from having these gorgeous ballads to then, yeah, screaming into the ether, screaming into oblivion. They did it so well here, but no two songs right next to each other on a track list are the same. If anything, they have more odds of being completely freaking different. Again, I know I kept saying my immediate initial thoughts after hearing this was, this is some of the most Sleep Token-y of their work. Now, what the frick does that even mean? I don't even fully know, but I'm gonna try, because how can I go from saying that they don't have a signature, they don't have one niche, they don't have one sound, they explore so much, and again, even in some of these, even in one song, 3 different songs in one, to the point that it's 7 minutes later and you're like, how is this all in the same thing? But yes, what is like the signature hallmark Sleep Token experience? And for me, I guess I say this coming from, this is my favorite aspects of their work. When I think of Sleep Token, what Sleep Token-y means to me is, it's an essence. It's not even necessarily a describable sound or instrument or even Vessel's voice, because he changes vocally in everything that he does. But for me, the best way I can articulate this is, it is an essence. It is this like spiritual, ethereal, transcendent, mythical, like ancient experience, and so much of that obviously like is fueled by the lore of it all, you know, the anonymity, the masks, and they play into it as well. Again, everybody has their own, you can have headcanon and whatnot, and so much of their lyricism is like, it's crazy to interpret, and you can make so much of it. Like I said, you can listen to these songs millions of times and still take new things from it, or have a new spin or a new perspective, or spin a new story from it. The best way I can describe this is, it scratches the same itch in your brain, for me at least, that like craves science fiction or fantasy, which are some of my favorite things, because it's an escape. That's what Sleep Token is. It literally transcends you when you're listening. Again, I always say this, into this dreamlike state. That's what their music creates. It is like this, their own realm between reality and this like fantastical, ethereal experience that so many of their songs capture, but then they can balance it and snap right back with like their real world shiz in like Damocles and Caramel. The ability for them in this album in particular to lift the mask and lift that veil and like speak plainly to the audience, bare their soul, is actually, I think, really a token of this, a signature of this album in particular, that I don't know if the others necessarily match. Their ability to flip on a switch and go from their signature, here's this eerie, otherworldly, fantastical, Eden, you know, heavenly or not, like this just crazy oblivion that you're swirling in, this realm that they create. To go from that to here's the reality of our situation and the curses and blessings of fame that can coexist, that they talk about, the vulnerabilities and frankly insecurities that come with being an artist and being a musician. But I feel like they're able to flip that switch, make that just crazy pivot between songs in this album while still also tapping into, and if anything, just expanding upon their already just insane discography, obviously. But again, that essence, that feeling that you get that you can't get quenched elsewhere, that they have carved for themselves. They don't abide by any other niche because they have created one for themselves. They are operating in their own. And this is all just speculation, just my opinion. I don't obviously freaking know them, but I feel like they have been able to accomplish that here because they have just freaking thrown any and all fear of judgment to the wind. Look to windward, y'all. Throw your judgments to the wind. Judgment from the music community, I think, primarily being a main source of critique that they get, because yes, they've been swept into this, is it heavy enough, is it true metalcore, does it actually fit within the scene, are they metal enough? The answer is, I don't think they give a shit. Neither do Sleep Token fans. We do not care. I am coming at this as a fan who just wants to hear whatever they have to offer, whether they're getting heavy or not. They did get freaking really heavy in this one. Some of the heaviest that they've ever unlocked. And I think it shows that they have just thrown any fear of just being pigeonholed or categorized or trying to abide by a mold or fit into this niche, obviously for marketability and whatnot. This album to me sounds like they are free in a way. Again, I do not know what their thought processes are. We got some of their most soul-bearing songs in this, some of their most just point blank stripped away talking as the musician, the weight, the crushing expectations, again, the simultaneous blessing but curse of being a creative, being an artist. Will anything that I make top what I've done in the past? Can I ever live up to the standard that I've even just set for myself, let alone the millions of people that are freaking waiting for me to put on a good show? And God forbid I'm suffering on the inside. And so that's what's very interesting, because I was gonna catch myself saying I know that they mentioned their lyrics, I can't always be killing the game. I think that's from Damocles, but here I was gonna say, you guys did kill the game. Here they are saying they can't always be perfect, and then they drop the most perfect album. But I think therein lies the crux of everything that they tried to convey. I can't always be perfect. I can't always be killing the game. My inclination is to say, but you still did. But that is the crux of it. It's well, yes, because you have to. There is no other option if you are an artist in the truest form, which they are. And so, yes, as a creative, it's well, I can't always be perfect, but that's still the expectation, and that's what I have to do regardless. I have no other choice. If you hold yourself to a standard, that message resonated with me so much. Just even this personally inflicted expectation, and then imagine maximizing that a millionfold. In hindsight now, the singles almost feel like this disclaimer. I know I was saying they felt like this decoy, almost this diversion to kind of fake you out for what the album was actually going to be, because I really do feel like Caramel and Damocles are some of the most standout, differentiated songs in this album, purposefully, I think, because they are stripped down to the soul of the writer. Then they still manage to one-up themselves even after they're releasing these first few songs that are basically saying they suffer from that weight. It is a blessing and a curse to achieve the fame that they have, to skyrocket to fame at the rate that they have. It's not natural. Their progression, even again, just within the past few months, has been insane. How do you reconcile with that? How do you just even balance that? And again, manage and protect your own freaking privacy, which is the bare minimum that they can ask for, that people still freaking try to breach. And then to hear the whole thing through, it's well, yes, you still achieved perfection. Again, these songs are competing with themselves to become my new favorite Sleep Token song, but you still feel the crux of it after all of that, the anchor is the fact that they perhaps got more vulnerable than they ever have. I was not expecting that from this album, for them to capture that kind of juxtaposition that they did, the disparity between real life, obviously what they go through in real life, versus this otherworldly realm that they can transform you to, that you can just escape into. And so yes, perhaps to circle back to my very first point of this, perhaps this is one of their most accessible albums, because they've just laid it all out on the table and bared their soul more than they ever have, gave every sort of extreme within their, artistry. I genuinely went into this album like, Take Me Back to Eden was pretty perfect, y'all. I don't know why I'm shocked. I shouldn't be this shocked because it's freaking Sleep Token, but they have outdone even themselves with this. And again, there's not enough time in the world for me to properly. That's why I'm like, get me a banana bag and get me Look to Windward and get this into my bloodstream. That's the only way I'm going to be able to properly absorb it to its fullest potential. This is about to be a really long video. Sorry that this came to you in like 3 different parts. I have had intentions to film this video for a while now, even just for myself, even if this just gets like 2 views from like the 3 other people that I've corrupted to become Sleep Token fans in my audience here. Shout out to you guys, honestly, genuinely, to hear from some of you guys that you started listening to them and they've become a regular in your, Spotify playlists and whatnot. I could not be happier to hear that. Sorry that it didn't have my actual genuine reactions, but I am so hyped that I got to go to that listening party and just grateful that I could share my thoughts here with you guys. So if you watch this whole thing, you're a real one. Thank you so much. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your review. Thanks so much for watching, Worship. Hope you're doing so well, and I will see you guys again very soon. Bye, guys.